Hi friends, welcome back into this new video tutorial with OSP Pro. In the previous video guys, I showed you how best we can actually learn jQuery and adding it onto our page. Now this, I already have this jQuery and this is the version I have on my PC and I'm using jQuery.min. We have different types of jQuery. We have jQuery min slit or slim jQuery, but I'll show you guys on the other videos, when I reaches that time when I'll be handling those cases or those stuffs. On this video today, I'm going to simply talk about jQuery syntax. Like now, what I will simply say here that you have to know with the jQuery, we use something called select or one known as query. If you ever use something query, and this we use on this query on HTML elements and perform an action on them. So with the jQuery syntax simply is a tailor-made for selecting an HTML element and performing some actions on them on those elements. So the best syntax, I may simply say, I'm going to use just this for now here. The best syntax I'll simply say here is that maybe for instance the dollar sign, that this dollar sign is actually signed to define one as to access, one as jQuery. Whenever you want to access jQuery, we use dollar sign. I know you guys are good with the PHP, you're going to tell me dollar sign to define a variable. That's very good too, because also in jQuery we use dollar sign to access a given element or to access one another's or to query element. Then on the other way around, we also have something called selector. This is what you're going to be based on later on in your query. Simply is to query or to find HTML element, that's a selector. And then we shall also understand something called jQuery later on. We shall also understand something called jQuery action, which will simply give us a chance to perform action on an element. So for instance, let me just give you a simple snapshot here to check whether my jQuery is really working. I can simply come back down on my page. I say maybe for instance, remember all here if we talk of the syntax, remember this is our jQuery. We already added to our page, but how do you start using it? To start using it, you need to write here another code of yours like that, and inside there that's where you write. So that's the syntax for jQuery, and inside there we give something like that to give us a chance to do what's needed. Like for instance, if I say maybe I may simply say what should I say now for now? Let me just talk of something like maybe document dot maybe document dot load or document dot get document and maybe on click. All those are the parameters we're going to learn later on. If I just want to test an element, I'm going to just simply say maybe document dot alert. Now I may simply say this, but this is not the right thing to do. I'm just trying to test something. Let me simply say maybe hello. Or I said this is not the right thing, but there's something I just want to test here. If I right click this on the browser, I'll get nothing, but does not mean that my jQuery is not there. For instance, I'm going to just remove this off to avoid some kind of, just testing up this for now to check whether really my stuff is working. Okay, that's good. Now let's go back to the point here. I just used a lot to just generate something little to pick that. Now let me go to the point here to let you guys understand something. Whenever you're going to write jQuery, we write inside something called script. So inside script, open script, close script, that's where you give in. And you can also add an HTML element to talk to that given script. For instance, I'm writing maybe something called maybe a HTML element like that, P. A P is an element, and P being having element is having hello, maybe hello world. Okay, if that's the case. Now if P is having hello world, and this is JavaScript, I'm going to just give you something. For instance, I want to hide an element in a P. I'll simply say document, and I simply say this means I'm talking to that given element that I want to hide. In this case, I'll just simply say hide. Now this will definitely think and look through the program to understand which element are you trying to talk to. Now this means that element is sure deal is that very element like P, for instance. Now let me go further and try to give you another scenario. I'm just explaining something because I need you guys to understand me. If you also don't want to do like that, you can also hide all the elements in a P. For instance, you can do this if you have all P inside your program. I can just open it like that. Now does not mean I'm picking by class or by ID of an HTML element. I'm picking by the name P. You can also use that property. It can also give you what you want in your code. So definitely if I do that, simply I'm picking up all the elements in a P and I'm going to talk to all of them. For instance, if I can simply say maybe P is having a class called the always P. Now this is definitely going to be picked differently, because if you try to come back here on our page and you simply say I'm picking an ID, this I should be for you guys, and you should make sure maybe you're familiar with the one known as CSS, because we have something called the CSS and we have something called maybe an ID. I'm having two things. I'm having an ID there, and I'm also having something called a class. Now, how do you pick an ID in one as our jQuery? I will simply say an hash there and I write the name OSP. Then I can simply say maybe we want it to be hidden. To hide that, I will simply call for that function like that to hide that. Now, this then simply describes that actually I'm speaking to something called an ID. If I don't want to use an ID, I can also use a class. jQuery gives us a chance to call for a class. Remember, whenever you want to speak to a class inside your HTML and using CSS, we give an extension dot or something called a selector dot, and then give the class name, which in our case is called OSP. If I happen to come in and I click on something called hide, it will give me a chance to hide that given element. And that means in simple terms that element is going to be hidden. So I'm trying to explain this to you so that you can definitely understand how the concept moves. I know guys, you may try to ask me to test this element. Does it going to work? I'm trying to say it's going to work this way because I'm not choose the right method within the course. So I'm going to explain to you all this as I'm trying to explain this on the next video. I'm going to be showing guys straight through and truly work and see how this thing will be working out. Here I've been explaining to you the codes, that's why I say written all those stuffs within the code and giving to classes and all this an ID, this is a class selector, so you find out there's a confusion in my code to give the other way around. But I'm going to be showing guys on the next video on definitely how to start up making up things. So this was how to write a syntax, and the next video I'm going to be showing you something called jQuery selectors, which definitely then if you happen to get to know how to use selectors in jQuery will give you a chance to understand how the element is written. Like for instance, here we needed to do something called to pick something called a document.ready. When document is ready, then HTML jQuery should load into the page. And if you're using document.ready, there are two possible ways which I'm going to show in the next video. You either put this thing here on the lowest floor, or you can definitely, if you already have your jQuery downloaded, then it's good. It's good. You can definitely have your jQuery there. I'm giving this for now, but in previously I couldn't give you that because if you're using jQuery and you're using CDN, I don't encourage you to put your codes on top. But if you're using jQuery and you already have your jQuery loaded into your PC, then it's okay because it's going to matter less. It's not going to make your PC or meaning the program to load slowly, and definitely do that. So in the next case, I'm going to be showing us the real program and definitely how you'll see how the program is going to be moving. So using document.ready on the next video. Thank you.